Imagine a force so quiet, so lethal, that the enemy refused to believe they were human. In the choking heat of the Vietnamese jungle, the Viet Cong gave them a name, whispered with fear: Ma Rung the Phantoms. Not an army, not a division, not a flood of men and machines, just 100 Australians. 100 operators who inflicted more terror, paralysis, and psychological collapse than 10,000 heavily armed American Marines ever could. How was that possible? How did a handful of SAS soldiers turn the hunter into the hunted? They moved like shadows through the bush, leaving no tracks, no sound, no scent, only bodies and unanswered questions. The Americans brought thunder. The Australians brought the nightmare. Today, we peel back the canopy on the most feared tactics of the Long Tan era: declassified accounts, buried reports, and first-hand testimony reveal why the Ma Rung haunted the jungle long after the war ended. Stay with me, because at the end, I will reveal the single survival secret so devastating it forced Viet Cong High Command to change their entire strategy or face extinction in the bush. This is the untold story of the Australian SAS. Let us get into the wire. Question haunted American officers across Vietnam. How could U.S. forces with limitless supplies, helicopters, jets, artillery, and technology be ambushed repeatedly while the Australians seemed untouchable? The answer was brutally simple and deeply embarrassing. The Americans smelled wrong to a Viet Cong scout. The U.S. Army smelled like a shopping mall dropped into a rainforest. Irish spring soap, peppermint toothpaste, shaving cream, insect repellent, and synthetic fabric. In tropical humidity, these scents did not fade. They traveled, they drifted hundreds of meters through heavy air, creating an invisible alarm system. A U.S. patrol announced itself long before it was seen or heard. In Phuoc 2, an American unit might as well have marched with flares tied to their helmets. The Australians saw this and made a decision that horrified everyone else. Cleanliness meant death. 2 weeks before deployment, SS patrols abandoned hygiene entirely. No soap, no razors, no toothpaste, no washing. Natural body oils soaked into uniforms. Hands went unclean, teeth went unbrushed. Their smell became so intense other soldiers avoided sitting near them. This was not neglect. It was camouflage. They were not men in the jungle. They were becoming the jungle. But they went further to erase every foreign trace. They coated themselves in local odors. Fermented fish sauce, crushed leaves, mud, village spices, rotting vegetation. They rubbed it into skin, webbing weapons. By the time they stepped beyond the wire, they no longer smelled human. To a Viet Cong nose, they were just decay, earth, and swamp. A scout could stand meters away and smell nothing, but the forest itself. Later research confirmed the horror. Humidity amplified scent exponentially. One drop of aftershave could be detected hundreds of yards away. Captured Viet Cong admitted they could smell American patrols 15 minutes before contact. Against hunters raised in the jungle, insect repellent was not protection, it was a beacon. This revealed a deeper truth. The Americans tried to impose civilization on the jungle: portable showers, grooming, standards, comfort items. Every choice favored familiarity over adaptation. The Australians chose the opposite. They surrendered comfort and identity to survive. They understood the jungle was not terrain to dominate, but a living system that rejected outsiders. So they dissolved into it and became invisible. Their scent discipline terrified the enemy. Their mastery of silence destroyed them. Sound was treated as a lethal substance. One clink, one snap, one cough meant death. In the triple canopy, noise was fate. American doctrine could not have been more different. Search and destroy meant volume, speed, presence. An American company could be heard kilometers away. Metal canteens clanged, boots thudded. Radios crackled, voices carried. It was not incompetence. It was doctrine. The SAS dismantled every sound source. Dog tags, taped, metal buckles removed. Magazines loaded, one-round short weapons, secured medical kits, rebuilt item by item, canteens wrapped Compasses padded, grenades taped. One operator was sent back because his boot eyelet squeaked. That level of obsession was normal then. Came movement, the heel-to-toe roll, each step lowered in slow control. Outer heel first, then weight transfer. Wow. Feeling for twigs through the sole. If danger was felt, the foot lifted and reset. A patrol might move 100 yards in an hour. Speed was noise. Noise was death. They moved with the jungle. When cicadas screamed, they advanced. When the forest fell. Silent they froze, sometimes for 20 minutes. They read birds, frogs, insects. Silence ahead meant humans. Frogs stopping meant movement. The jungle warned them. Viet Cong sentries reported quiet nights. Then found comrades dead beyond their posts. Australians had passed through like shadows. Communication was silent. Over 120 hand and body signals. Complex enough to run ambushes, retreats, wind calculations, and intelligence reporting. 14 days without a spoken word. No radios. Unless life depended on it, transmissions lasted seconds, whispered and shielded. The enemy could triangulate signals in minutes. So the SAS erased themselves from the electromagnetic spectrum. But the most terrifying weapon was stillness, total, absolute. Inhuman stillness. They lay in ambush for days, motionless in water, mud, rain, insects, ants, centipedes, snakes. They did not react. They slowed breathing to 6 breaths per minute. They waited. Preparation began days earlier. Diets designed to stop bodily functions, bladders trained, muscles conditioned for immobility. Pain managed through micro-movements and mental control, closer to meditation than soldiering. The mind changed. They called it going bush. The self-dissolved perception sharpened. They heard ants, felt air pressure, sensed movement in darkness. They became sensors, not meant of the enemy. This was devastating. The Australians did not strike and leave. They arrived silently, killed surgically, and remained. They waited until columns were fully committed, then erased them. Statistics horrified the Pentagon. American ratios averaged 10-1. The Australians reached 500-1. Analysts thought it was a mistake. It was not. They targeted leaders, couriers, signal operators, commissars. Remove one and units collapsed. 5 men could do more damage than a bombing campaign there. Weapons reflected philosophy. While America embraced high-rate fire, the Australians used the L1A1. Heavy, accurate, lethal. Each shot counted. The jungle deflected. Small rounds, but not these. Ammunition usage was humiliating. The entire SAS used less ammo in a year than one U.S. company in a week. 2 bullets per confirmed kill. The real secret, however, was ancient, 40,000 years old, Aboriginal tracking knowledge. Reading mud, leaves, web, stones, bark, foot size, speed wounds, load, direction, time, boots or sandals, regulars or guerrillas. American sensors failed. Millions spent. False alarms, animals, rain, decay. Viet Cong walked around them. One tracker could follow days-old trails and find mines by leaf patterns. This knowledge was formalized, taught, integrated, not symbolic, not ceremonial, weaponized ancient wisdom. Viet Cong had nowhere left to hide. Then came the ambush. 5 men, 18 enemies, claymore. Rifles, discipline. 15 seconds, 14 down, 47 rounds fired. Intel collected, brass recovered, gone. An American operation. Took helicopters, artillery jets, and hours for half the result. But the cost was human. Men returned hollow, hypervigilant. Detached, changed. Some never came back inside themselves. The jungle never fully let them go. Then the final proof. Captured enemy documents, orders to avoid Australians at all costs. Only mines or rear attacks allowed. Direct engagement forbidden. N. Admission of defeat. 100 men created no-go zones. Divisions could not. The Pentagon buried it. Pride won lives. Paid. The lesson came decades later. Too late for 58,000 names on stone. The Ma Rung remain in the shadows, silent, patient. Watching, a reminder that true power is not noise or numbers. It is the willingness to disappear and wait.